We do not analyze facts in this video. We merely state the events that have occurred or are occurring, from the declining Roman Empire to modern-day Europe. Decline in native populations, migrants, Rome. By the late 3rd century, more and more people, termed barbarians by the Romans, settled in the empire's lands as federates. Europe. In some countries, it is predicted that in the coming years, the native population will become a minority. The influx of migrants into Europe began with Europeans leaving their colonies and continues to this day. Assimilation of migrants, Rome. In border areas and provinces, arriving barbarians hardly assimilated with the Roman population. Men from these groups preferred to be warriors rather than craftsmen or peasants, and they often simply ignored Roman laws. Europe. Many immigrants, especially from Africa and Asia, do not try to integrate into the society of their host countries. The exception might be those who arrived from non-EU European countries. Religious conflicts, Rome. After a period of persecution of the early Christians, particularly when Christianity became the official religion of the empire, they became quite aggressive, sometimes brutally, towards adherents of older faiths. Blood was spilled in the streets of Roman cities. Europe. Increasingly, there are reports of clashes between Orthodox members of Muslim communities and native Europeans. The reasons behind such events often surprise with their groundlessness and absurdity. Low birth rates, Rome. By the 4th century AD, birth rates had catastrophically fallen. Modern estimates suggest that a Roman woman had no more than 4 children, of whom only every second child survived to the age of 15. Meanwhile, the birth rates among incoming peoples, like the Germans, were 12 children per woman. Europe. Today, European women typically have 1, maybe 2 children. The number of childless families is growing. Among Africans and Asians, the average is 5 to 7 children. Unwillingness to defend one's country, Rome. During the decline, fewer and fewer Roman citizens were willing to serve in the military. The state increasingly relied on troops from federates and allies. Europe. According to recent sociological surveys, on average, no more than 40% of citizens in European countries are willing to take up arms to defend their nation. Rising taxes, Rome. By the end of the empire, as some provinces were lost to barbarians and the number of craftsmen decreased and exports declined, emperors tried to compensate by significantly raising taxes. Europe. Tax levels in Europe are known to be among the highest in the world, and significant tax increases have been ongoing for over 20 years. Wars and epidemics. Rome. For 150 years before Rome's fall, wars at the empire's borders provoked refugee flows and worsened the well-being of the empire's citizens. Several epidemics in the 4th and 5th centuries occasionally paralyzed the state's economy. Europe. For the last 2 decades, prolonged military conflicts have occurred along the EU's periphery. Residents of these unfortunate countries in fear flee to what they perceive as safe havens in Europe. The COVID epidemic paralyzed the EU economy much as plague epidemics did to the Roman Empire 1,500 years ago. We hope that these coincidences will not reflect the actual future of Europe.